Hi, my name is Paco Nathan, and I'm here at O'Reilly Media's Strata Data Conference in San Francisco. And today it's a pleasure to be joined by Ben Lackey, who's Director of Data and AI Partnerships at Oracle Infrastructure Cloud. Ben, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Could you tell me a bit about your background and your role in this here?
Oh, sure. So I joined Oracle Cloud Infrastructure recently, this last year. And it's sort of an interesting move for me because I'm on the cloud side. Prior to that, I'd always been on the ISV side. So I'm part of a team that Oracle's been building out to really work more closely with ISVs and partner more closely, building out a really open cloud ecosystem.
Excellent, excellent. Can you tell us a bit more in general about the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure?
Sure. So this is a next generation cloud that Oracle's building out. The engineering team is driven out of Seattle, sort of cloud capital of the world at this point. So lots of really, really great engineering talent and sort of taking the opportunity to build a new cloud from the ground up, really without any tech debt at this point. And it gives us a bunch of interesting advantages. There's sort of three pillars we're basing this on. The first is probably unsurprising, the best place to run Oracle workloads.
Certainly, yeah.
So you want to bring your database you've been running for decades on-prem to the cloud. We offer great managed service to do that, works really well. Sort of following on with the database, really great support for our line of business and packaged applications. So that's one pillar. The second one is around price and performance. So I mentioned we're building a new cloud without tech debt because we get to start fresh. That's allowing us to make it very, very efficient, very high performance. And that transcends compute, storage, and network. And that allows us to do things like price at less than our competitors, while at the same time outperforming them.
Interesting. I mean, some of the evolution of cloud over the years, the more contemporary services are, in my opinion, it seems like higher level abstraction for end customers to be able to use. Is that some of the aspects of next generation?
We are getting there. So we're building this thing from the ground up. Right. And sort of starting at the hardware layer, trying to build up and up and up. So this cloud originally started as a bare metal cloud.
Interesting.
And the real innovation there was off-box virtualization, both at the compute and the network layer. So no overhead to that virtualization.
Oh, very, very interesting. I can imagine too, especially in a lot of high velocity kinds of situations, that's so crucial.
And that's where we had a lot of our initial wins in the high performance computing space with large compute clusters, including even at some academic institutions.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so in terms of data and AI, what are some of the key challenges that you're seeing Oracle is working with those for customers?
Well, I guess even flipping it around, I see it really the opportunities. So I look at our line of business applications, and we have all this amazing data. So like some of the largest companies in the world depend on our ERP systems to run their business. So one of the opportunities I see is working with our partners in the AI space to get insights on that data. So imagine looking at the ERP system, we know what the inventory is, we know what historical sales are, we can do demand prediction out of that.
Interesting, it's a different way of breaking down the silos. It's all right there.
It is, and it's one of the strongest differentiators I think we have, is this legacy of these packaged line of business applications that enormous enterprises depend on.
And from what I'm hearing too, there's more and more applications of, say, machine learning being applied for metadata management or governance kinds of concerns. So I can imagine that'll play in over time.
Oh, sure. That's probably even further out there.
Yeah,
a lot of the use cases we're really thinking about immediately are these sorts of like ERP supply chain things, as well as customer experience. One of the things I've been looking at a lot is how we can work with the point of sale systems that Oracle owns, a company called Micros, and how we can leverage the data in there in conjunction with technologies provided by our ISV partners like H2O AI.
Oh, excellent. Okay. That's kind of tangential, but let's expand out a bit on that. Talking about some of these kinds of partners, how about the big data ecosystem in general? What's the approach that Oracle Cloud Infrastructure has toward big data and AI ecosystem, let's say?
Yeah, so I sort of mentioned these three pillars. First off, Oracle. Second off, price performance. And third is really this openness.
Okay.
And that's really leading our strategy there. So one example would be Oracle's partnered with Cloudera since 2011.
Right.
The release of our big data appliance, which was effectively some of the Sun hardware as an engineered appliance with Cloudera bundled in as something customers could purchase and run on-prem. And that's evolved over years to the point where now we have Terraform templates that will automate the deployment of Cloudera running on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and really provide a push-button experience for our customers to get up and running with that technology.
Oh, fantastic. I can imagine that that could be applied across the ecosystem to a lot of different frameworks.
Oh, and it is. That's merely one example. So in that space, we're working with Cloudera, we're working with, well, Hortonworks, sort of, MapR, and so on. And that's one slice. Another slice would be the various NoSQL vendors.
Right.
And that, from a personal perspective, has been really fun for me because my last two roles were at Couchbase and DataStax,
Right.
both of which are very close partners of ours today.
Oh, excellent.
In fact, at the booth this week, we'll be demoing those technologies running on Oracle Cloud.
Oh, fantastic. How about openness? How about being an open platform? How does that help advance the ecosystem overall?
Well, it helps advance the ecosystem because as much as any one vendor might want it to be true, no customer is going to run only that vendor's technology. Right. So we're taking a very open approach. We've joined the CNCF as a platinum member, and we're contributing actively to it. One of my favorite contributions is a function framework. So some other cloud vendors have built their own functions frameworks. We've built one and open sourced it that will run anywhere, but is also being offered as a service running on Oracle Cloud.
Oh, excellent. So function in terms of the context of serverless?
Exactly.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
What types of language support does that have?
Well, so the underlying stack is based on Docker.
Okay.
So you can push really any language you want into a Docker container, and then the function framework manages the execution of that.
Oh, so is it exposing services then, or microservices, so to speak?
It's we're viewing it as a function, so
Okay.
it's you can pass in variables, you get out a result,
Right.
and it's time bound as opposed to like a full-on containerized thing where it might have an indefinite runtime. This is really intended to invoke, execute, return. Okay, done.
Oh, fantastic. I love that pattern. I'm so glad to hear about more of this showing up in open source too, because that's kind of been one of the limiting factors.
Well, yeah, and it's really interesting. I mean, we've got this with the functions. We've done a similar thing with an eventing framework. And then sort of nearest and dearest to my heart is in the infrastructure as code space.
Right.
So this is one of the advantages of coming late, is when other clouds came into being, the infrastructure as code space was incredibly immature, so they had to invent their own technologies. We haven't had to do that, so there is no proprietary OCI infrastructure as code technology. Instead, we just take a dependency on HashiCorp's Terraform and then work with our ISV partners to enable deploying their technology that way.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, in my experience, that's been one of the real bottlenecks as a customer is it's hard to get people, it's hard to get teams really staffed up in that area. It's very competitive. So having that Terraform support from the get-go is just real critical, I can imagine. Now, we've talked a bit before about what companies you're already working with, and but is there a strategy on the partnering?
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of working through the ecosystem in particular areas and partnering with the best of breed vendors in each space. So we're doing that kind of data gravity work, working with the big data companies, working with the NoSQL vendors. And then at the same time, we're working with sort of natural partners from our past in the ecosystem. So one example would be, if you look at the database, that brings a whole ecosystem around it. And BI is one great example there. So working with all the BI vendors to bring their BI platforms to the Oracle Cloud running against the new autonomous database that we have available there.
What's the autonomous database?
That's what we're calling our managed database service.
Oh, excellent.
And the thought is it deals with things like hardware failures automatically, it handles upgrades automatically, as well as some cooler stuff we're doing around tuning queries automatically and so forth.
Oh, fantastic. Alrighty, well, thank you very much, Ben. I wish you all the best at the conference here. I look forward to the demos.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.